Can someone tell me why this? Give me 1 second. Oh my goodness, it's been such a long day. I'm so tired. And 3, 2, 1. I am totally aware of everything that I didn't do when I should be doing, and my feet are exhausted, but I should get up and just go and switch the laundry or something. Right? It's this, like, we go and sit down. It's at the end of the day or maybe halfway through the day and you're exhausted and you're like, I just need 10 minutes to sit down. And you sit down and all of a sudden your mind is like filled with everything that you didn't do that you should do. It's that you're being lazy. It's that you're not doing enough, or you might be aware of who's disappointed with you because you're sitting, and maybe that's someone who said something 20 years ago and their voice is still in your head, which I would call people pleasing. But it's just this experience of, like, you sit down and you're just flooded with, like, it's like you can't rest simply for, like, just take 10 minutes to rest. So let's talk about it, because it's a feeling. But when we haven't done enough, and typically we would use that word of, I feel like I haven't done enough. I feel like there's more. Or maybe you're aware of your to-do list and you know that you haven't done enough. And you need to do something about that. You don't have to, but you either have to, I would encourage you, make a choice and say, this is how I'm choosing to live. And with this constant pressure, and I'm not going to do anything to change it, even though I can, or change it, because it's totally changeable. Because that feeling of, I feel like I haven't done enough, or like there's never that sense of accomplishment even when you've gotten the necessary things done in your day. It's a feeling, and that feeling will drive you nuts and keep you totally off track. So my mom and I were talking about this, and just the difference between, like, feelings and facts. And it also, this video was inspired by me sitting on the couch and just feeling like, I had done, about a week ago, I had done everything that I needed to do, but I didn't feel like it was enough. I didn't get that emotional high that I'm always searching for. But the thing is, that I just want to say, is that emotional high that I'm searching for will keep me on my feet the entire day, and I will always end my day never getting enough done. And so it's great when we feel accomplished, but it's not so great if that need to feel that accomplishment feeling, it drives you to be constantly on your feet and constantly aware of your to-do list. So where you might feel very legitimate, like where I know that I am not doing enough, in which case, like, maybe you are expecting far too much of yourself, and you still need to edit that down. But that feeling is going to drive you, and it's not based on reality. And so, as I was talking about my mom with this, and just thinking about it in this past week, because this is something that the more organized I get, the more that I create systems that actually function for my YouTube channel, for my family, for meals, for just everything in life. I love creating systems. And yet the more successful I am at creating systems, the less accomplished I feel, which is so incredibly frustrating. And that reminded me, when I said the word frustrating, that if you feel frustrated, if you feel stuck with other people or with something in your life or your home or your habits, there's always something you can do, and there's a super simple solution. So grab the Start Where You're Stuck handout in the description below this video so that you can begin to create the change that you've been waiting to see, regardless of what other people do, and even if you haven't been able to create that change. It's a simple system that asks you the right questions, gets you thinking, just gets your head in the right place so that you can start to create change. Okay, so let's talk about feelings versus facts, because people live life and we make choices that kind of keeps on creating an outcome. There's a saying I heard recently that your life is perfectly geared to get you the outcomes that you're getting. So whatever outcomes you are repeatedly getting, you are producing that. It was, I should find that quote. I'm not sure who said it. It was just like a random thing I had heard on someone else's podcast. But it was like, wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's frustrating because it's very easy to blame other things. And yet we keep putting in the whatever we need to put in to get the results that we're getting, even the results that frustrate us. And yes, there are exceptions to that rule. But for the most part, if your to-do list is crazy long, what is the part that you need to own? Because no one else is, I mean, maybe people are adding things to your to-do list, but at the end of the day, you still get to decide what's on that to-do list. You're the one, like, where are you overcomplicating things? Where are you adding too much? Where are you maybe not doing the tasks at the right time when you should be doing them, but you just let yourself get distracted, and then you're doing other things when you should be doing those tasks. So there's always a part to own, which we go over in the Start Where You're Stuck method, in which you can grab in the description below. But with feelings, we learn, like, it's crazy how on point. So the example that I like to use with this is that if you have someone who is always always overspends their money, they work hard, they make money, but they're always like $200 in the red. And they will, like, people are so good at never being $2,000 in the red or $20,000 in the red. It's like if their meter is $200 in the red, they will, year after year, paycheck after paycheck, always be $200 in the red. And the nice thing is that you can change that. You can be $200 in the black, and then $2,000 in the black, and then even $20,000 in the black. You have the ability to change that because it's our choices. That it's kind of like, if it was based on reality, there should be way more fluctuations. So when you're always kind of like tired to a certain degree, or feeling stressed to a certain degree, or your schedule is full, like it's always kind of like there's these consistencies, that it's based on feelings and emotions, not based on reality. And the good news with that is that we can begin to change that. And if you want to do that, grab the Start Where You're Stuck handout in the description below. So what I realized, again, when I was talking with my mom about this, is that as a kid, I remember seeing my mom be busy doing things. But the thing that I picked up was that there's things to do, and yet what like where I am in life and where my mom was in life, kind of, I think, just when I started to become more aware of what she was doing, I didn't have the facts. I didn't know, okay, she's doing this, 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 and this. So I just picked up there's always things to do without there being like facts on what exactly is there to do. And when those jobs are done, we rest. I just picked up there's things to do. And so that simple thing, like things, there are certain things that our parents teach us, or that other people teach us, that it's logical, it makes sense, and we use our words to teach it. And then there are things that we pick up, that we just pick up. And then all of a sudden you have this terrible habit based on someone else's, like, so mom could have totally good, clear reasoning and thinking with what she's doing. And yet what I picked up and the way that I interpreted it and understood it and carried on with it, it didn't have clear thinking. And so the wonderful thing now is that, Mom and I will talk about this stuff, and then I can sort through stuff and work through it and develop better habits. But I am making choices in my home where as soon as I sit down, I am convinced I have not done enough, and I feel like I've not done enough. And the longer I sit, the more anxious I feel, because sitting's bad, that's being lazy, and I need to just get up and do things because there's always things to do. But the problem is that my home is not big enough. I don't even have enough stuff to keep me busy all day. And so what happens is that when my feelings and my beliefs tell me that I haven't done enough, what happens is that I'm not doing my work efficiently. I'm not doing chores efficiently. I'm always leaving messes everywhere, just because I'm so convinced that, and I've got this belief that I wasn't even aware of, that there's always things to do. And so then it's driving me to be chaotic and cluttered and only do things half well. And then whenever I sit, I never feel like I've done enough, because it's like just this mess of what's going on. And so whenever we have this, and this can happen anywhere in life where we are overspending our money, where we are overspending our time, overspending it. Basically, it's anywhere that you're overspending or overexerting yourself beyond your means. So you might be giving of yourself to people far too much, and it's beyond what you have the capacity to give. And yet it's like we tell ourselves the things of like, oh, but it's good, it's godly, it's what Jesus wants for me, and it's being a good Christian. And yet the reality is that we're just being irresponsible with the time, the energy, the money, the resources, whatever it is that we have. And so there's a lot of wisdom in learning to work within your means. And you'll learn to work within your means when you become more aware of this internal meter that you have, because you have, if you sit down and all, just your thoughts start spinning around everything that you haven't done, and that you're being lazy and you should get up and just quickly go do that thing, and then you can sit and rest. If that, like, it's one thing if that happens once in a while because you actually should go do something. But if sitting down causes you to be anxious, that's because you've got some internal meter telling you that sitting is bad and lazy, and the longer you sit, the more that the work is piling up. So if you can shift that internal meter, you'll find that you'll be able to sit down. So that brings me to talking about the time fallacy, which is that we are so often convinced when our experience is that we don't have enough time to rest, or we don't have enough money to do what we want to do, or we don't have enough energy, or whatever it is, right? When our experience is that we don't have enough of something, we become convinced that I would totally be able to do X, Y, Z when I have time, when I have the money, when I have the energy. And yet what happens is that even if you were given that thing that you're so convinced you need, because you haven't done the work of working towards that thing, or of figuring out and working out all the like little kinks and bumps along the way, then even if you were given a ton of time to rest, to do that hobby or that project, you are going to be lost and you won't know what to do with yourself because you've been stuck in this mode of believing, oh, I don't have time and I just need time. Like I don't have time to sit. I don't have time to rest. I don't have time for that hobby. I don't have time to just enjoy my kids and be outside and play with them, which is a big thing that I struggle with. And I'm like, I've got to change and shift this internal meter because I'm going to lose a lot. I'm going to lose out on time simply because I have this belief that there's not time to play. There's not time to sit, or the only time to sit is when we get together with other people or whatever it is, right? We each have our own thing that we struggle with. But even what I've found over the years and what I've seen in other people's lives is that sometimes we are so convinced that we need something that we don't have, like more time, energy, money, something else. And then so we hold off on creating the change that we want because we're convinced that, well, I can't do this until I have that. But even if all of a sudden you have that thing that you're convinced you need, you won't know what to do with yourself because you've been the workaholic, or you've been the one who's always on their feet, or you've been like you've perpetuated this experience of it's kind of like, there might be things that are always driving you to your to-do list to be crazy long. And yet, even if that's true, you can still teach yourself to sit and to rest, and for your breathing to slow down, your body to slow down, to really engage with God during your prayer time, which is a great time to do that, to pause and enjoy your meal when you're eating lunch and not just scarf it down because there's so much to do. And it's just, it's our thinking that creates our reality. And so if you want your reality to change, you got to change your thinking. So my encouragement to you is that even if, like, whatever it is that you're waiting for, if you start to find that when you sit down, I mean, really, right, in this video, we're talking about like, why is it that when we sit down, we're so aware, like that's all it takes is for you to be so aware of everything that you haven't done. So my encouragement to you then is to sit down and teach yourself. No, just sit down and know, or sit down, in the middle of the day. You could set a timer for 5 minutes And you're stretching yourself to be uncomfortable with something. But just the thing is, what do you do when you're uncomfortable? Where do you run? So typically what we do is that we're uncomfortable, and then we're aware, like that uncomfortable, we sit down, and then all of a sudden the thoughts come flooding in, where we're so aware of everything that we should be doing. And then we just get up and go. We don't even think about what's going on. We just get up and we go and do something to try to relieve ourselves of this uncomfortable feeling. So what you should do, I would encourage you to do, is to sit down, and you could set a timer, because it's like, okay, logically, I know 5 minutes of sitting is not going to take that much time in my day. And as you're sitting, let those thoughts come and then acknowledge them. You could say them out loud and then let them go away. And then tomorrow, maybe you'll set the timer for 10 minutes. And again, you let those thoughts come. And as Christians, this is something where we're I think for a lot of us, it's that we feel lazy if we sit down and there's all these things that we're like, I'm behind. I need to do these things. That can be interpreted as we're being lazy, and being lazy is like such a godless thing. You're not a lazy person. And like, if you are and the Holy Spirit is convicting you of that, then do something about it. But like, this whole dynamic that we're talking about, this is not a laziness problem. This is like a belief thing. And that belief can so easily drive us to make a lot of choices in life that are not helpful, not good, and that just drive us nuts and that throw us off track. And not being able to sit and rest and talk to God, or talk to a friend, or to play with your kids without always having your phone right there, which again is another thing that I have to constantly catch myself with. That is such an important thing to learn. And yet this feeling or this belief that I haven't done enough, or there's always something to do, will drive you to run away from those really good, quiet, small moments that are so life-giving. It's just that when you're practicing them, they don't feel life-giving, right? Because when you're sitting down and you start to feel this anxiety and you feel this need to go and get something done, learn to sit through that, because this is you just training or retraining your nervous system. And your nervous system needs to actually learn that we can sit down for 5 minutes and the world is not going to fall apart, right? So then you get to the end of that 5 minutes and you can say like, okay, the world didn't fall apart. Now I can get up and go and do that thing. And then again, tomorrow, do 10 minutes. And as you learn to do this, it's like we're just learning to do something different with the thoughts that come our way. Because sometimes like we can operate under so much guilt and so much condemnation, and we don't even realize it. And yet it keeps us running. It keeps us overextending ourselves. And overfunctioning was a term that my mom had just told me about too, where the thoughts and the feeling, the guilt that we carry can just throw us day in and day out into this place of overfunctioning. And if you can just learn to pause, to let a thought come, and when that thought comes, take a deep breath rather than getting up and doing something about it. And it doesn't mean that you can't get up and do something about it. Just make a choice. Like bring it into the realm of, I'm choosing to do this, versus like I'm anxiously, I've got to just do something because I have to get rid of this feeling. Because humans are geared towards just running away from uncomfortable things. And so when sitting down is all it takes to make you uncomfortable and to make you so aware of your failure and that you haven't done enough and you should be doing more, learn to rewrite that and to identify that. Because I've had to learn over the years to let that thought come and pause and say, okay, what haven't I done? Because if that thought is saying, you have not done enough, learn to identify. Like basically, it's almost like you're standing there and you're saying, okay, thought, you keep telling me I haven't done enough. What is it that I have not done? Because for me, whenever that thought would come, I couldn't actually pinpoint what I said I was going to do today and I haven't done, or what, like, sure, there's a long to-do list, but that's not the problem. It's this constant feeling of, it's just this condemning statement of, you have not done enough. And so when you learn to even flip that around and say, what haven't I done enough of? Because then again, you stay seated and you think through, okay, if there's something specific you haven't done, then make that the next thing you do and intentionally go and do that thing. But it's like, I'm fine. And as I've worked through this, I'm like, I'm fine doing things that I know I need to do. It's this constant feeling of never doing enough that we need to learn to get rid of, because it's our nervous system. It's what we've learned, the way that we've learned to be in the world and to interact and behave with other people, where we've just, at some point in our life, we just picked up this constant awareness of what we should be doing or that we're not doing enough of. And so it's a feeling. And when there's, okay, you know what? I was going to keep going, but I'm going to stop. So that is all. And remember to grab the Start Where You're Stuck handout in the description below and start to tackle this. Because it'll take you through this whole experience. And I mean, you can apply anything, anywhere where you feel stuck, anywhere where you're having an experience, an emotion, something that is frustrating you. I just used it yesterday, again, with my mom, because she was here. So we were talking about a whole bunch of things, but I used it with empty containers. I had empty containers that were always like shampoo bottles. Every time, like, I would empty a container and it would just live in the shower for a really long time. And so we went through the 5 steps of this handout, and I realized a lot about why I keep empty bottles or almost empty bottles of shampoo in the shower or laundry detergent containers. They just kick around. I'm like, why is it that I can't just empty it and take it to the recycling? And so I learned a lot. So that whether you don't know how to sit and rest, or you have empty or almost empty shampoo bottles sitting in your shower, this handout can help you begin to tackle all of that. So I hope you download it, have fun with it, and just you'll discover a lot. It's kind of fun. But okay, that is all. Lastly, remember to read the Bible, get lost in the beauty of God, and let Him heal your heart. And I will talk to you soon.